Drop servicing is the engine behind many of the world's leading agencies and software companies, including my agency Brightock. It's one of the methods that's on absolute rise, and many of the well-known creators are turning to this method as something that's both easy to start and scalable. I've been in this business for years now, and I worked with big names like Rita Ora, Sky News, and Airbus. Brightock made about $1.5 million on freelancer.com, and currently we got about $500,000 in active projects. I have zero hard skills. I'm not a marketeer, I'm not a designer, I'm not a developer. I'm just a regular guy like you, and in my eyes, this is a perfect method to get to 10K a month in a relatively short amount of time. So where do you find clients and contractors? How do you build your brand? And what do you do if you're new to all of this? I will answer all of these questions and more, but first, let's understand what drop servicing is. It's similar to drop shipping, but instead of shipping products, you sell a service. Everything starts with a buyer or so-called client. They will buy a service you provide. For example, if you provide web development services, you will deliver those services via a third-party contractor you hire to do the job. If a client is willing to pay $1,000 for website development, you need to find a contractor who will do that for less. The difference between the contractor rate and what the client is willing to pay is your profit. You're basically a middleman taking a cut on every job. And can you do that? Of course you can. You don't need any skills or investments except maybe people skills. But even without those, you can still figure it out. Your path to making money online starts with an offer. It's a proposal you pitch to the client expecting money in return. Offer absolutely can't be something vague like I'll manage your social media. It's gotta be specific to catch your customer's attention. Here's a good example. We'll use cutting-edge AI to boost your business with more leads for just $499 a month. Remember, the offer needs to have value or the client can choose anybody else, right? I'm talking about using AI to increase the client's leads. I'm specific and clear. If I weren't, I would drown in a sea of competitors. Offers could create a sense of scarcity or urgency. Something like, I'll do this for free forever, but you need to bring in 3 of your partners and they've got to stay on board for it to work. You can be a bit cheeky and bump up your offer by 25%, covering that price reduction while still making your deals super tempting to your potential clients. Trust is everything, and in this competitive world, clients will often browse numerous sources in order to find A, the best value for money, and B, the most trustable source. And how do you build trust? You need a brand which is accompanied by a logo, a website with an offer, a presence across major social networks, and eventually credibility. Most importantly, you need a portfolio, and I'll talk later about how to build a portfolio if you don't have any previous work. Creating a logo for your business has never been easier. There are plenty of AI tools that can help with that, and I won't waste time with this. Your brand logo could just be the brand name like I have, and you can Google modern free fonts and put it together yourself in Canva. Creating websites today is another simple task. Plenty of no-code website builders have their hosting and will have your website up and running in practically no time. Your website should include information on what you can do for your clients, how that will benefit their business, and additionally, what you charge for that. It should also contain the About Us part and a portfolio of previous work. And there is a question about portfolio I've been getting all the time. Later in this video, I will hopefully explain it once and for all. So here's an example of a landing page that you can copy for your business. You can get a clear picture of what they're up to. They are targeting clients tired of Facebook for not bringing in enough leads. They break down their offer explaining how it all works. But do you know what clients really love to read? Testimonials. Hearing from other people who've been there, done that, and are over the moon with the results. Plus, they're not shy about their integration capabilities, which is just a cherry on top. That's a rock-solid example of how to reel in customers, make sure they know exactly what they're signing up for, and eventually paying for your service. This site is perhaps only missing a lead magnet. Lead magnet is something that you can give for free in exchange for something of value to you, like their email. And there is no escaping social media nowadays. You need to be present absolutely everywhere. But who has time for that? I'm here to help, so no worries. Nowadays, everything revolves around AI's generative machine. To harness all of those useless videos and posts, Flick Social comes to help. Throw everything in it and, in a couple of minutes, it will send back usable content that is just yours. And if all of this is overwhelming for you, look for talent on freelancer.com who will do all of this for $100 to $200. To be transparent as always, I get a little bit of money for every customer I send to Freelancer. If you decide to follow my lead, use the link in the description and get $15 off your first spend on the platform. The question I've been getting the most is, what should I do if I don't have a portfolio? Somebody less experienced will answer volunteer, work for free, or even work on mock projects, but not me. I would say borrow it. Sometimes the simplest solution is the easiest answer. Here's an example. If I'm contending for some kind of video production job, I would ask my video producer to join me on this job and borrow some of his portfolio items. So to gain access to their portfolio, in return, you need to let them in on a job. It's as simple as that. This example translates to any other service, writing, design, development, and so on and so on. I'll let you in on a big secret. As a longtime agency owner, I realized one thing about hiring. This cost me so much time and money. Here it is. You should avoid hiring full-time employees for as long as you can. It's easier to stick to contractors, also known as freelancers. The downsides of working with full-time employees are people management, salaries, vacations, sick days, complaints, and so on and so on. I used to have 30 employees and rented office spaces, but in the last couple of months, I switched to contracting and working from anywhere but the office. Hiring contractors is more expensive but less worrying. I sleep like a baby. When looking for contractors, one of the main things that filters freelancers are years of experience. I don't hire people with less than 5 years of experience in their field, and I think this is self-explanatory. The next thing is the number of portfolio items. If somebody says they can't share their portfolio items, from my experience, they are probably lying. Everybody wants to show their best work. Communication is next on my filter list. Does a contractor speak English? Is he or she responsive, polite, and on time for meetings? All the names are added to a spreadsheet with details like portfolio, rates, skills, availability, and of course years of experience. That way, I always know who I can count on for a specific job, and I like to have at least 5 to 10 contractors per skill. I use freelancer.com and Online Job Philippines to find my contractors. When talking with freelancers, I'm always very transparent. I say that I have a couple of potential projects and that I'm looking for freelancers to help me deliver a job on my behalf. I prefer fast communication, so we talk through Discord, Slack, and WhatsApp because I need to get back to the client, with an offer as quickly as I can. I use Toggle to track hours, Trello or Notion to manage projects and tasks, and Google Docs for writing and invoicing. I usually charge clients some money up front, and I pay my contractors by the 15th of the following month. I have a contract with every single contractor, and you can find the template in the description, which is of course free. This requires multiple videos, but as time is money, I will try to keep it as brief as I can. And I mentioned this video for newcomers, so I will focus only on how to find clients through cold outreach. We recently started using a new tool for cold outreach, which is called Clay. For this example, I will use a trial version because I can show you my business strategies in depth just yet. In my agency, we also use Apollo for email targeting, but I will talk about that in another video. Start by clicking on the new table, and there are plenty of options to choose from. I'll select software development companies in the US, for now from LinkedIn. Skip legal and government and all the businesses with over 200 employees. It's easier to target smaller companies with personalized message, and you will receive a response much faster. As you can see, it's basically done. I can import this data to a new table. Since this is a trial plan, I'll just select a basic enrichment, but with full enrichment, you can get some insane value. The next step is to find people from those companies. Clay will use their LinkedIn URL, job title, and so on. I have their name, their job title, location, LinkedIn profile, contact, and bio. And now I can target them in my email campaign based on their LinkedIn profile. This is crazy tech. Clay also has a Chrome extension that works great. For example, you can use it to find software companies in Dallas. It grabs the data from Google Links and inputs it into your sheets with another contacts from Clay. This took me like minutes. Play around with the app and the settings to get a hold of all of its options. With all this data, the next step is to start an email campaign by addressing each individual personally. Do you remember what I talked about earlier? The most important thing to remember here is add value to your proposals. From my experience, if you go straight down to sales without any value, you will not receive any kind of answer. And how to find value? Do your research. Check the company's social networks, website, and employees on LinkedIn. Try to figure out what they are missing and explain how you can help them improve. It's important to have multiple touchpoints so you can target them through email and social networks. And the funny thing is that most, if not all of this, can be done through Clay. If you're still absorbing everything as a sponge, the next thing you're interested in is how much to charge, right? It's simple. I ask my contractors to provide me with an estimate. I will add a contingency, which is basically a buffer of roughly 15 to 30% because you should always be prepared if something goes wrong. Then I will add another buffer, which is approximately 50% of what my contractors charge. That is my profit. My mentor, Matt Berry, the CEO of freelancer.com, and I often discuss new AI tools. If we could bet on AI, we would. There are so many AI tools nowadays that can help you with research, crafting proposals, social media management, content creation, and so on and so on. And I firmly believe in the power of AI, so I've decided to launch my AI service. You can check that out on my freelancer.com profile. Speaking of freelancer.com, you can find lots of clients there, of course. But before that, watch my video on how to get a head start on the platform and how to start selling services online in a matter of days. See you next time.